Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. In today's video, I'm going to be talking through a couple of my favorite player props on Prizepicks for Game 3 of the NBA Finals on Wednesday night. We got the Warriors and the Celtics with the series tied at 1-1, heading back to Boston now. So, very pivotal game here. Anytime the series is tied 1-1, that Game 3 is always a very big game. It always decides kind of the momentum, way the series can go. And I think a lot of times the winner of Game 3, whenever the series is tied 1-1, the Game 3 winner goes on to win the series a good amount of the time. So, big game tonight. Hoping that we get a close game. Last game on Sunday was kind of a big disappointment. It was a massive blowout. Warriors kind of ran away with it. I'm thinking we're going to get a close game tonight, or at least I hope so. Before we talk through our plays for today, we can recap our plays from Sunday, from Game 2. And we went 2-1. Even in a blowout, we did still hit 2 of our 3 plays. Did hit the over on Draymond Green's fantasy points. I think Draymond hit pretty early in the pretty late in the third quarter, early fourth quarter. Even in the blowout, Draymond was still able to get there for us. We also hit the over on Jason Tatum's points. He scored, I think, 28 points. We had over 25.5. Even without getting many fourth quarter minutes, I think he barely played in the fourth quarter. Tatum still was able to get there for us. Sadly, though, didn't hit the over on Andrew Wiggins' fantasy points. Wiggins just didn't have the best game on Sunday. If that game stays close and Wiggins gets his full minutes, does he go over fantasy score? It's possible. I'm not really sure. I think he finished with like 19 fantasy points, and we needed 29. So probably wouldn't have hit anyway. Even if the game stayed close, but still decent day. 2-1. Didn't get a clean sweep, but I'm hoping we can get a clean sweep tonight. I got 3 plays that I'm gonna share in this video. Before we get started, though, guys, talking through these 3 plays, as always, please hit that like button down below. Appreciate you guys checking out these videos every single day. Hit that subscribe button if you are new here. I'm gonna upload these videos, pretty much for every playoff game up until a potential Game 7. If the series goes 7 games, I'll have a video up for every single game, and I'm trying to cover some other sports as well outside of NBA. So like on the days where we don't have NBA, I've been trying to make MLB videos covering some MLB props I like each day. You guys should definitely be checking those out if you're interested in other sports outside of NBA. And obviously after the NBA season is over, I'm going to try and cover MLB a lot, throughout the summer, and then ultimately leading up into the NFL season. We'll be covering some MLB props this summer. But yeah, hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Also, check out Prizepicks. Sign up for Prizepicks. Use promo code NOAH. When you do, Prizepicks will match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. If you bet player props on any other DFS site or a sports book and you want to give Prizepicks a try, I would highly recommend checking them out. They're a little bit different than your traditional sports books. There's no odds on Prizepicks. It's a fixed payout. You just find 2, 3, 4, 5 props that you like. You pick over or under, and then depending on how many picks you make, it will determine the payout. You can select flex play or power play. Flex play is basically, even if you get a pick wrong, you could still potentially win some money or get your money back. Power play, a little bit riskier, but obviously, has a higher chance of a payout, or a higher payout, I should say. With parlay, or with power play, it's basically like a parlay. You have to get all your picks right, but if you do, you could potentially win up to 10 extra money. And Prizepicks offers a lot of props, outside of the traditional stuff, points, assists, rebounds, all that. They have, some new stats they added: 3-pointers made in the first 6 minutes. They have 2-pointers made in the first 6 minutes, free throws made in the first 6 minutes. So if you want some quick sweats, you can play these props. These are something that I'm pretty sure Prizepicks is like the only book or site that offers these kind of props. I don't think there's any other book that offers these. So something worth trying. If you're new to Prizepicks, sign up. Make sure to use promo code NOAH, and they will match your first deposit up to $100. But let's go ahead and talk through the 3 plays that I do like for Game 3 on Wednesday night. We're going to start off in the PRA category. Taking an under, and I'm taking under 18.5 PRA for Jordan Poole. So I was on Jordan Poole's under PRA in Game 1 of this series. It was one of my Patreon plays. He did go under. He didn't have the best game. Finished with just 13 PRA. I didn't take any of his props last game. Didn't take any unders on Poole. Luckily, I didn't, because he went over. Had 22 points, rebound, assists last game. But let's take a look at so far in this series, Jordan Poole's minutes. Jordan Poole has only played 25 and 23 minutes in the 2 games in this series. And specifically last game, I really want to focus on, because Jordan Poole did not play much at all in the first half last game. So Jordan Poole subbed in with about 5 minutes left in the first quarter. He played out the rest of the first quarter. Obviously Jordan Poole comes off the bench. He's kind of like their 6th man. He was the first guy to sub in off the bench. Him and Gary Payton both subbed in at the same time. Poole played out the final 5 minutes in the first quarter, and then obviously he started the second quarter. He played about 4 minutes in the second quarter, and then he subbed out and never checked back in for the rest of the first half. So Jordan Poole only played about 9.5, 10 minutes in the first half. So he was only on pace to play like 20 minutes last game. But obviously last game wound up being a massive blowout. Jordan Poole didn't sub in until there was 1 minute left in the third quarter. So he barely played in the third quarter. He played just 1 minute. But he played the entire fourth quarter because it was such a blowout. They didn't have to bring any of the starters back in. The only starters that even played in the fourth quarter last game were Draymond and Clay. I think, Looney checked in for a little bit, but Draymond and Clay were really the only starters to get minutes in the fourth quarter. Steph never checked in. Wiggins never checked in. Poole got to play the entire fourth quarter. I think he had a pretty big fourth quarter as well, just because he was kind of out there dominating the usage. It was definitely an outlier game from Jordan Poole, and he still only played 22 minutes. So, if this is a close game tonight, how many minutes are we getting from Jordan Poole? I think maybe 18 to 20. Like, in this series, Boston, they're a team. Boston likes to really hunt the defensive weakness of the other team, and Jordan Poole is a defensive liability. He's not a good defender. He's a guy that Boston will look to attack. So I just don't know if they really want Poole out there for a ton of minutes. Now, Jordan Poole's a great scorer. He's a guy that can get hot. If Jordan Poole comes off the bench, starts knocking down threes, at that point, Steve Kerr is probably just going to be forced to play him big minutes. But I think if he's kind of getting hunted defensively, if he's not hitting shots, we could see his minutes get cut down. And so far in the series, he really hasn't played a ton of minutes. He's played less than, he's played 25 minutes or less in both games in this series. Now they have Gary Payton back as well, a good defender. I think Gary Payton's a guy they want to give minutes to, so he can be out there defensively, going up against Jaylen Brown, going up against Jason Tatum. Andre Iguodala was out last game. Maybe he returns today, which could open up some more minutes off the bench for some other guys. Maybe that's just another guy that could take minutes away from Poole. I think there's a lot of ways that Poole could see his minutes get cut here. And I like his unders. I think 18.5 PRA is a little bit too high. He's only gone over this in 2 out of his last 5 games. Last game, he probably would have went under had it not been a blowout. I think he went over in the fourth quarter just because he got all those fourth quarter minutes. I like this under. I played it in game 1. It hit easily. Didn't play anything on it last game, but I do like it today. I think there's a good chance Jordan Poole plays like 20 to 22 minutes. If he gets hot from 3 and goes over, then so be it. But I think in this series, he is going to see pretty limited minutes. I don't think he's a guy they want to play a ton of minutes going up against this Boston team that does like to hunt the defensive weakness of the other team. And obviously, when Jordan Poole is on the floor, he's going to be a defensive liability. So that's what I'm taking. I'm taking under 18.5 PRA for Jordan Poole as our first play for today. And then our other 2 props are both going to be points props. Taking over 15.5 points for Andrew Wiggins. So Andrew Wiggins, obviously last game, big disappointment. I took the over on Andrew Wiggins' fantasy points last game, and he came up short. He came up short of like all of his props, but he didn't get any fourth quarter run. So far in the playoffs, though, when Wiggins has gotten full minutes, he's been scoring, pretty well. You can take a look at the games he's gone over 16 points. Obviously, his line at 15.5 today, we need him to score 16 points. He has scored 16 points in a large majority of his playoff games so far, this postseason. It looks like 3, 6, 9, so 12 playoff games out of 18. So 12 out of 18 playoff games, Andrew Wiggins has scored at least 16 points. And a lot of the games where he went under 16 points, he didn't get full minutes. 31 minutes, 31, 24, 31, 29, 19. Normally in a close game in the playoffs, Andrew Wiggins is playing close to 40 minutes. And you can see a lot of these games where he went over his points prop, 40, 35, 37, 35, 40, 41, 39. That's the minutes that we should expect from Wiggins today if this game's close. Obviously, it's the NBA Finals. I think we should expect every game to be close. Can there be blowouts, every now and then? Absolutely there can be, and we saw there be a blowout in Game 2. But I would expect tonight's game to be close. I think it has like a 2 or 3 point spread. Wiggins should play, close to 40 minutes if it's a close game. Game 1 was relatively close. Wiggins played 35 minutes. He scored 20 points. His usage has been pretty good so far in the postseason. He's been taking a lot of shots when he's been on the floor. He's got double-digit field goal attempts in a large, majority of his playoff games. I like this line at 15.5. I think, normally his points prop should be 16.5, 17.5, but I think because he, had such a low-scoring game last game, the books kind of had to bump it down a little bit. I like taking the over. I think Wiggins can score 16 points. I think if he plays his normal 36 to 40 minutes, he's probably going to get enough volume, enough shot attempts, enough usage to have the opportunity to hit this prop. And, if he has a bad shooting game or whatever it may be, then so be it. But I think in normal circumstances, when Wiggins plays his full minutes, he's probably scoring 16 points more times than not. And as you can see, so far in the postseason, 12 out of 18 playoff games, he has scored at least 16 points. So I like that one as our second play for today, over 15.5 points for Andrew Wiggins. And then our third and final prop going down to Marcus Smart, and I'm taking over 13.5 points for Marcus Smart. Now, I know Marcus Smart did not have the best game last game, only scored 2 points. He was a big disappointment. But Marcus Smart has been scoring pretty well so far in the playoffs, and he's another guy that, in his playoff games this season has scored 14 or more points in a large amount of his playoff games. It looks like 3, 6, 9, so I think 12 of Marcus Smart's playoff games. I just want to double check. Or 11. So 11 out of, looks like 17, I think. Yeah, 11 out of 17 playoff games, Marcus Smart has scored at least 14 points, gone over his prop for today. But again, take a look at some of the games where he did not go over his points prop. One game he shot 3 for 9 and 1 for 6 from 3. One game he shot 2 for 9 and 1 for 6 from 3. 3 for 11 and 1 for 6 from 3. He just had poor shooting games. 1 for 8 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3. Obviously, last game he shot just 1 for 6 and 0 for 3 from 3. Now the Celtics are heading back home, where I would expect, a lot of their key guys to play well. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Marcus Smart as well. I think Marcus Smart has played really well at home this season, in the playoffs at least. A lot of his big games have come at home, I do believe. He had that big game against Brooklyn, scored 20 points. Against Milwaukee, against Miami, scored 14, 15, 16 points. I just think Smart's going to bounce back here. He's been good so far in the postseason. He's played pretty good minutes in the games that have been close. Obviously, his minutes got cut way down last game, but that was just all due to the blowout. He didn't get any fourth quarter run. I think if tonight's game's close, again, which it should be, we're probably getting 35, 36 minutes from Marcus Smart. He kind of has been his minutes kind of have been up and down a little bit. He's been dealing with this injury. There's been some games where his minutes get cut a little bit. But a large amount of the playoff games he's played in that have been close, Smart has gotten close to 40 minutes. Do we get 40 minutes from Marcus Smart today? I think it's possible. We have seen Derek White play really well off the bench. That can maybe cut into Marcus Smart's minutes a little bit, but I still think Marcus Smart is going to be in the closing lineup. He's going to play over 30 minutes. He's been taking a good amount of shots in the postseason. It just comes down to him shooting well, which I think at home he should be able to do. He's been taking a lot of threes as well. I think he's going to score 14 points here. He's been scoring 14 points in a good amount of his playoff games so far. A lot of the games where he has not scored 14 points, it's just been due to poor shooting. After a poor shooting game last game, I would expect Marcus Smart to probably bounce back here. I think he's another guy that, kind of similar to Jason Tatum. We talked about how Jason Tatum has bounced back a lot in the playoffs, after a bad game. Marcus Smart, he scored 9 points against Milwaukee in Game 2, bounced back with 18 points the next game. He scored 5 points against Miami in Game 3, bounced back with 14 points the next game. After scoring just 2 points last game in 25 minutes, I'd expect Smart to bounce back here to play well. His minutes obviously will be way up, compared to last game, which was a massive blowout. And again, if tonight's game's a blowout, then it is what it is, but I think we have to expect these games to stay close. These are playoff games. It's the NBA Finals. These games have 2-point spreads, 3-point spreads. Blowouts will happen every now and then, just with how the NBA is right now, with how teams shoot threes, and with how there's just a lot more variance in the sport. Blowouts will happen, but I think a large amount of time, more than likely these games are staying close, and these guys are going to play their full minutes. So I like these 2 overs to pair with the Jordan Poole under PRA for Jordan Poole. Those are going to be our 3 plays for today. So that's what I'm liking for Game 3 of the Finals on Wednesday night. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it did help. If you enjoyed, hit that like button before you do get out of here. Hit that subscribe button as well. Again, make sure to check out Prizepicks. Sign up for Prizepicks. Use promo code NOAH. When you do, Prizepicks will match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. But that's all that I got for tonight, guys. Good luck, and we will see you in the next video. Peace.